Hi, I'm Deb the librarian, or Deb Mole. I am a professor of library science at the UAA APU Consortium Library, and I'm here to talk to you about information literacy, in particular, identifying credible sources. So I'd like to begin by defining information literacy. The American Library Association defines information literacy as a set of abilities requiring individuals to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. So to be information literate, then one needs skills not only in research, but also in critical thinking. So I'm going to cover a few different ways of asking questions, evaluating websites through this presentation. The first is by asking who, what, where, when, and why. So who created this website? Look for the author and publisher. Do they have expertise on the subject? What is included in the source? Is it written professionally? Does it contain evidence and citations from studies or other trusted sources? Where is it published? .com and .org are for-profit and nonprofit company websites typically. So .com is commercial, .org is organization, but orgs can also be, individuals as well as .net. .edu would be university, so that would be rather credible. .gov is government, and .mil military. Just it gives you a little bit of information in that URL address line at the top, but not completely. You would still need other criteria to assess whether it's appropriate for your assignment. Another question to ask is, when was it created? Is it old news? Is it new news? Does the date matter for this topic? And why was it created? To educate, entertain, inform, persuade, sell? The second approach to this would be using the CRAP test. So you may or may not be familiar with the CRAP test, but CRAP is an acronym that stands for currency, the timeliness of information; relevance, the importance of the information for your needs; authority, A, the source of the information; A, for accuracy, the reliability and truthfulness and correctness of the content. And this is where you would pay attention to whether there's language that is unbiased or biased as well. And then P, purpose, the reason the information exists. Again, is it to entertain? Is it to inform? Is it to educate? Is it to sell, or to persuade? So that can be kind of a good way to vet out the ones that are less appropriate for your assignment. So that CRAP test image seemed to be quite busy and had a lot of words to it. So there are some other options that might be more straightforward and quick, so that you can more easily use the criteria to assess. And this is one example of that. Another example is an infographic like this, where they have a visual that actually points to different parts of the page that can help you ask the appropriate questions to assess whether it's a credible source or not. A couple of the key areas that I want to talk to, though, in this evaluative aspect of research is authority. Developing authority takes time, partnered with experience or in-depth research, and we're going to go into that more in a moment. Authority in one subject does not equal authority in another. So if you're seeing a doctor of, like a doctor of feet, he or she is not necessarily or they are not necessarily an expert in trees, right? So make sure that the authority that you're looking to is an authority in that particular area that you need an authority to be in. Verify the authority to confirm credibility. So doing a quick internet search can help. Credential background to make sure that they're like at the university they say they're at. Does the person need to have authority on the subject, or are you believing them because you agree with what they say are right? I get drawn into podcasters or YouTube videos, and and you know, kind of trust sometimes their authority on that subject area without necessarily digging in for the background information. However, if you are writing a paper based on that content, you may want to take that next step and validate that they are actually an authority in that area. So authority through experience or research. Clearly, we all are familiar with authority through experience, right? Like if you're a gamer, you are an authority in the gaming area. If you are a quilter, you're an authority in quilting. It you know, it takes time, practice. If you're a musician or an athlete, you're likely an authority in those instruments or sports that you practice. Work, like I'm a librarian, I've been a librarian for a long time, so I'm an authority in doing research and helping students. There's the other path to authority, which is through research. Thus, which is the path that you're on, actually. So at the graduate student level, a master's level student would have to write a thesis in most degrees to earn a master's degree, or at a PhD level, it's called a dissertation, and that's an extensive research report. Now, like you and I, graduate students have a variety of interests, so they are writing on everything from zombies to video games to computer science to Alaska topics. You know, you name it, there's likely a graduate student out there researching it. And what's the process that they go through to become an authority in that area? First, they find all the resources on their topic and write the story of research on that topic. So this author found this researcher found that, this is where the gaps are, this is where the opportunities are. That is called a literature review. Then they conduct original research. So if it's a scientific field, they may be out studying streams. If they're a social scientist or in the social sciences or political sciences, they could be surveying or you know, students about how they feel about homelessness in their area, or it could be political science, you know, so it could be a survey or a focus group or some sort of way to assess some social science field topic. Then they have to write their methodologies that they use, their findings, their conclusions, their future research opportunities that exist in this field, and then present about it. That's called defending their thesis or defending their dissertation. So, oh, one more thing I'll say about that is then, so once they become that expert in that field, after spending those years doing research and writing about it, then their dissertations may turn into a book, or they would write articles about it and submit them to scholarly journals. They may become the peer reviewers for particular peer-reviewed journals because they have such expertise, and so they'll look over other articles before they're published. So they're really thought of, then they've earned that privilege of being an authority in that field because they spent so much time researching it. Another aspect I want to talk about, though, is bias or point of view. Given the same topic, we have different viewpoints. So it is helpful for us to recognize our viewpoints when conducting research, as well as the point of view of information sources and authors. I think it's really cool because like we all have a different culture, different or you know, different cultures, different backgrounds, different education levels, different ages, different factors that influence how we look at the world. And so I think paying attention to what yours is when you're researching, as well as what the author's is when they're writing, it can be helpful in expanding our mind and the way we think about the topic. One source can only provide one perspective on a topic. Multiple sources provide more information and different perspectives, and then you can figure out what you want to say, where your voice is in after looking at and reading the different perspectives. Finally, I want to just remind you that there are terms used in the library research world that you may or may not be familiar with. One is an editor, a person who's in charge of and determines the final content of a newspaper, magazine, or multi-author book. There's peer review, which has a definition here. It's popular magazine like Time, Newsweek, scholarly journals, which are more academic, thesis, which we talked about, and dissertation, and then the trade magazine, which is like a popular magazine for industries. So for me, it's American Libraries, published by the American Library Association. So whatever industry you go into may have a trade magazine that talks about current topics for that industry and has advertisements for people working in that industry. But you can limit it to all of these different types of sources in our quick search database as well at our UAAPU Consortium Libraries website. So do you need help with this or anything else? You want to talk about your topic, talk about evaluating sources or finding good sources, feel free to email me. You can also call the library's research help desk. It's 907-786-1848. You can ask us, chat with us. You can click on Ask Us at the consortiumlibrary.org's website and to chat with us, text us, set up a research consultation or appointment with a subject specialist librarian. We are here to help you succeed. Thank you. Good luck. Have a great semester.